got that I think it was the FT991 when it got out. One of my friends did a quick video with a cellular. We post that on a YouTube channel called laboenligne.ca, and we start to post some video. My first video, you don't even see my face. Okay, I don't even talk. I just showing something, and I started like this, and then we move on to other things. And I kept the YouTube channel and published a few videos after that. And we were the first one to have the multimode digital hotspot, which was the DV4 Mini. Anyway, I was one of the first in the world to receive one, except from the developers, because we were already testing C4FM with links between the repeaters and stuff like that. I'm still hosting a server, FCS server, which is a 500 or 50 connection almost permanently. So that's station, that's repeaters, that all kind of networks bridged together. So it's all started like this, and we were producing contents with cheap cameras, with cell phone and things like that. And then for me, it became another hobby and another passion. Started to buy new cameras, then went to 4K, built a PC, and it went on. And in 2016, I got uh, an email from someone at the ARRL, which is Mark Wilson, K1RO, who asked me if I would do an hotspot review. Okay, the DD4 me. So I did. That was my first, and I was a member. I've been a member for a long time with the ARRL, and I started doing review with them. So this is incredible because for someone, most people don't even know that there's a province in Canada that speaks French. Okay, for a French guy like me, and to have been invited to do things like that, it's just the power of YouTube, where it can bring promotion to anything you want to promote or talk about. So, and as I started, and I'm going like this when I talk, okay? So don't hesitate to interrupt me to bring me back to the subject. But what I can say is start producing content. Do some content. You do something. Start filming with your cell phone, and film some project and just have some fun. So I do reviews on things I want, or things I will do for myself, and I want to share that. I think it's more genuine. So I'm always optimistic. People say, you always, yes, because I did my homework before I buy. I know the strength and the weakness of a product, and if I bought it, for me, I already accept it. So you will only see objective review from me, because that's how I do things. And if your club, you want to promote ham radio, and if you go back 20 years ago or 25 years ago, and one of your ham friend tell you that there's something about ham radio on TV tonight, then you program your VCR, and then don't miss it, because it could be like 3 years before there's something else. Is that true? Now you go on YouTube, there's like 30 YouTubers bringing contents. Sometimes they do reviews on the same radio, but they do it differently. They do a different approach. They have their own style there. And it's just be authentic. Just be yourself, and do what you like to do, and do it in front of a camera. So it's not that hard once you break the ice of being able to listen to yourself. So this is the toughest part, but I think it's something that everybody's doing. TV has the same issue with that, I believe. But you just do things and build content, and you can do a lot of good things with a cellular, with a camera. Like this is an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and with this you can actually do 4K video. There is some rack that you can buy that can put that on a tripod. Try not to film like this. Okay, try to be fixed and not move too much. And if you want good audio, you take another cell phone or another thing, and you put it in your pocket, and you record close to your mouth, so you will have a good audio, and you can mix it within the computer program after that. So, but just do it. Do some content and start, and move on. So it's just a matter of doing it.
Speaking of just doing it, what would you suggest for some of those videos? I think you hinted towards like your product reviews. You're doing things that are meaningful to you or interesting to you. Maybe with some of the videos that you've done on your channel, are there certain videos that are more interesting to others? Have you noticed a pattern in what you produce and put out that viewers are interested in?
Yes, I noticed that product review has a expiration date to a certain degree. A new product will be very attractive if you're the first to put out the video. Then you'll get the views and the subscribers that will discover your YouTube channel. But it's getting more and more difficult as more people are doing reviews, like the 705. By the time I receive it in Canada, as it was not available yet, what happened is that I received the radio and there was like already 15 reviews on the 705. So I decided to wait it so I can do a review with the latest firmware and refresh, get the views from different viewer because it's a newer video. So at the beginning, when I started, there was not a lot of people doing reviews, especially on high-end gear. So I did the TS990 with that. That was a radio I bought used that I had at the time. Decided to do a review on that radio, and I think it's 100K right now views. It's the most viewed that I have. But I noticed that when I do a video about putting on a PL259 on an RJ213, this get a lot more views, and it's keep going all the time. I did a video about the IP networks for AMs, how to do port forwarding and stuff like that, and teaching the basic. This video is like every month, the French and the English version keeps on getting views and views and views and views. So this type of video are more sustainable over time, and so product review for me, it's something I want to do. Still want to do for the things I'm interested in, but I will not buy every new radio that are available. So that is something. Even though in some radio, even if they send it for me for free, it's not sure if I want to review it anyway. So otherwise it becomes a work. It's not an hobby anymore. So it's just but that's my personal view on that.
Tell us a little bit about your workflow. Maybe not all the way up to the 4K level, but is there a for groups just getting into this? Is there a video editing that you use, or is there something that you would recommend to get into?
Well, if you start, I recommend not to invest too much. Try to start with something that is free. Okay, so that is it. But start with the good things. As an example, you have Black Magic. I think it's a Californian company, Black Magic, which made cameras, TV switchers, and things like that. They make cameras for the film industry, and they also have a software, an editing software that you can have for free that you can download. It's called DaVinci Resolve. At least it was free a little while ago. But if you are a business and you want to do editing on a server, central server, and have many editors working on the video at the same time, there you need to pay for the big license. But for a common user, you can use that. So it's a bit complicated to operate, but if you start with it, you'll get used to it. You get know how to do your things, and at a certain point, you'll be able to 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 use to benefit all the advanced feature of the software. Personally, I use Pinnacle Studio, and there's a reason why I don't use Adobe. Adobe is probably the most popular in the video editing for YouTubers, at least. But this is a monthly fee. This I think it's 49 US per month with another plugin effects or something like that. So Pinnacle Studio, you pay like $80, and then you have the version, and it's good. It's for me. I've been working with that since version 10, and I'm up to version 23 now. And so I don't want to change because I'm used to work on it. But it's not that I don't recommend it, but try to start with something. If you start like with DaVinci Resolve and get good at using it, you won't have to buy any software after that. So it's all depend what you want to do. I used to do video with Movie Maker available with Windows. So.
in anticipation of you joining us, I did some searching around and looking at YouTube about what different clubs have out there, just trying to find clubs and what they've posted. And, I found a lot of, like Field Day 2012 and just an hour of some guy walking around with a camera, or like you said about the shaky, somebody trying to hand hold something that wasn't necessarily meant to be handheld. Is there a particular sort of length of a video that you would recommend? Because there's that too long didn't read kind of attitude out there for many folks. The same thing I imagine is out there with video as well too. Have you found kind of a sweet spot? More than 5 minutes, less than a half an hour, or do you think the long form works for different things? What are some of your thoughts on that?
Well, they say it need to be like more than 10 minutes because if you want to have more publicity at the end and you want more revenue, so YouTubers tend to make longer video, not too much. Um, you know what I do my Amfest, if you look on my channel, if you go in the video section and see all the videos, the Amfest video I do, it's I call it freestyle camera. Okay? Because I don't want I'm there, I want to enjoy the Amfest. And at some point, I had this big stabilizer, like this $500 stabilizer with weights and everything, the things you see for for cinema. And I have my big 4K camera on it, but with the big it's like how do you call it?
A harness or a
Well, a harness, and it's
yeah.
all aluminum, and with the arms going like this, big thing, big gear. This is for a TV crew, okay? It's not for a YouTuber because you don't want to carry. I was able to carry that around for a few hours. It's very comfortable because it's holding all the weights and everything. But that was a bit too much. So now what I do, I bought a little thing called it's made by Zhong. You have GoPro that do some. Then you put your cellular into it, and it's a gym ball. It's fully automatic with step motor. You do the calibration, and you can screw a monopod on it, and it will follow the angle. So when I go in the corner of the Amfest, I use this monopod and I do crane shot with a cylinder, and it looks very good. It's not as good as the quality of my 4K camera because people can pause and actually take a picture of a radio that is on the table. That was my big camera, but it it's very decent. It's very decent and do a lot of things. And this stabilizer, it doesn't shake. You can walk slowly with it, and it will, you don't won't get dizzy. And this the cost like $200, so maybe 150 US. So this is the kind of thing that you can buy to film the Amfest. And what I do in the morning, I get in before they open to the public, so I can film all the table. The people want to see what stock there were on the table, okay, at that Amfest, and this can bring people next year that missed the Amfest and see the video and says, "Man, there was a lot of this type of gear at this Amfest. I should have gone." And this people are interested in that. But when there's full people, you cannot film the table closing. What you see is the back of mini am radio operator. And so I do that in the morning, and then I call it freestyle camera. So it's French, it's English, it doesn't matter. It's just I do it like this, but there's many ways. In the future, I'm gonna show you something. Hold on a second. Oops, that's my radio. Hold on. So sorry, I'm not looking straight at the camera because I have a 43 inch TV that I use as a 4K monitor to do my editing. So this is my workstation in my shack. And this is a TV switcher made by Blackmagic that you can do live show like this, okay, and switch cameras, and you can have overlay. Hold on a second. I'm gonna activate it. I need to open the software. I was not ready for that. And then let's see, like this. I can share my screen as well. So then you have, okay, so you will see now, you see I have my monitor here. So I'm monitoring this thing. This thing can stream directly to the internet. And one of the things I want to get in the future is wireless HDMI wire. So I'll be able to stream a live Amfest with someone walking with a camera and having people commenting, and do like a live show. Hold on a second. It's in the garage. I cannot show you. Yeah, I wanted to show you the stabilizer. But this is the kind of thing I can do. Oh, I'm back to my camera. Hold on. So this is the kind of thing I would like to do in the future. So do live show in a handfest with someone walking around with the camera, with the live streaming over the internet, maybe with a picture in picture and having talk to the club president, talk about his club and do show like this. This is a project for the future when COVID-19 will be behind us because all the handfests are canceled. But this is something that I would like to do that is possible to do as well. If you have an internet connection at the AMPES site.
So when you produce your video, do you storyboard it or how do you organize the content?
If you storyboard a video, it will be a lot better. For me, in English, it's how can I say that? It's easier to a certain degree because in English you have like one word that can, depending how it is phrased, okay, it will mean different thing. In French, there is 10 words for everything. So it's more complicated. And believe it or not, my accent in French is worse. Okay, because if you are French in France, well, I have a Canadian accent and I use English word in my language. And sometimes I don't even know the French word. So I'm there. I try to storyboard, but this never ends up the way I want. And for some reason, so I do my videos in a certain structure. Let's say I'm going to do the IC705 review. I'm going to do it exactly as I did the 9700, the 7610, the MB1, the TS990. So I always try to, what is it like to own and operate this radio and what can it do? I don't want to go into very technical spec. Let's go into the menu. What can I do? What I cannot do? And with a very objective approach. So if people ask me which one is a better radio, well, there's maybe a better radio for you, but it doesn't mean the radio is technically better. It doesn't work like that. Anyway, not in my mind. So I do the same structure. I will go through every button, every menus, and try to highlight the most important thing. And this is how I do my review. I never compare radio side by side, unless it's the same brand and not the same category. Let's say I can compare the 7300 with the 7610 and the 705, but I will not compare the 7610 with the MB1 or because if you look at the QST and I think I am direct into the way they do things. So we respect the manufacturer. We say things that's the facts and keep objective and do not compare between brands. Some people like that, but I think we're so a small market on radio that we need to help every manufacturer, everyone that's trying to do a business out of AM radio, we need to help them to be successful, unless it's very, if something is really bad, there won't be any review. For me, it's like that. If something is so bad, I won't review it. And if it's not FCC approved, I won't review it. There's certain guidelines. It's the same for the QST, I believe. And this is important because you need to be a genuine. You say the facts. Is there something you don't like? You say it. But doing reviews on things that I already made my mind and decided to buy several months before the review, I know there's only one antenna port on the 705. And yes, I would love to have two antenna ports so I can have an HT antenna on 2 meter and still have my HF plug-in. I know that, but I decided to buy it anyway because the radio is incredible. It's a QRP with the scope and everything. But it's something I would mention, but I will not be stuck on that. In the future, maybe there'll be duplexer for that because duplexer are usually made for HF and VHF up to 160 meg, and then they made for UHF. Now you need to isolate HF, VHF, and UHF. So that is another thing. But this is an example that I won't, you know, sorry, I don't won't be bitching about that. I was, you know, it's just it's this and that's the fact, and I bought it anyway. And for me, it's not a showstopper. Maybe for someone, it will be, but
But
so
Pascal, do you work off a script, or you kind of plan out what you're going to say, or what?
I I I tend to do it the same way, but it's not a script. I did a documentary in 2017. I don't know if you guys saw that. It's a subtitle because I interview people. This I had a full script, a full story, and it turned out completely different than what I wrote. Okay, I have the only thing that I kept is the last scene at the end of the video. But because I had to make, you know, we discuss with someone, we do interview, and after an hour and one interview, we have to do it a second time the next day. And then I just picked some things and built a story out of it. And I think it turned out okay. It turned out very good from my point of view because the story, it's exactly what I wanted to show. But this is more for this type of content doing, you know, something more seriously. Um, when I do QST review, I do my written review before the video, so I can follow my article as a script for the video. So yes, Stan, I do that, but not always. Not always. I should do it more, but I'm lacking a bit of time. If I do more, if I do a script and I practice several times, a few takes, and it will be better. It will sound better. I will have less of an accent as well because, you know, I will get the right word and do it a few times. So this is probably something that is more complicated for me doing in both language. So
As you're speaking here, I've got this big list that I'm kind of keeping track of here, and I do want to go back to something you just said about with the reviews, and that you know, if you again, especially with QST, that you're not out there to really go after a manufacturer, compare one against the other. Um, Tell us, we know that YouTube can be fantastic, but YouTube can also be very toxic. There can be some real people with some real opinions out there that want to get them across and are not necessarily being nice about how they're doing it. Rather than embracing this fraternity that we have of amateur radio operators, they're really trying to, I think, fragment things and break things up. Can you tell us about maybe some of the things that we should maybe keep our mind, try to avoid? Obviously, polarizing issues might be one of them, but are there some things that you found that, you know, maybe a mistake that say, oh, I'm not going to make that again because maybe somebody took it the wrong way, or maybe, you know, it led to an unintended consequence?
uh, somebody very wise told me something someday, but I don't remember who. Okay, or maybe I saw that on TV. I don't know. But there's a concept, and I apply that every time. Never argue with a fool. People won't tell the difference. So if you're in a parking lot, somebody's yelling at you, even though you didn't do anything, and he's a freak. If you start yelling, you're a freak too. So. Oops, sorry. So for me, I'm not arguing with people, but I do not ignore it as well. Sometime I remember at some point somebody was laughing about my haircut. My hair was longer than usual, and it's true. And I look funny. I didn't like the look myself. Okay, but and he wrote it on in the comments, and I came back. You know what? You're right. I look, you know, and I don't like my haircut, and but my wife likes it, so she likes it. And he says, you know, I was joking, huh? So the people, so everything stopped there. So, you know, I was joking. So I think he was surprised that I did answer. And, you know, all the YouTubers and will tell you that they were shy at the beginning. There's something they don't like about themselves. They're 99% of the people are friendly, are open mind. I'm radio operators are like that by default, I believe. Okay, for my experience, for 30 years of amming, people are open. If you're am radio, you're definitely open to others. So and you want to do worldwide communications, or you're open about that as well. For most people, um, there, and I never argue with people sometimes, and most of the time, there's always a part of truth in what they're saying. And I always start back, reply back by confirming the truth, but giving my point of view without arguing. And you can look at my post on qrz.com, and you can see all the comments, and you know, I let people, I let all the comments people put, I leave it there, even though if someone it's a negative or something, your subscriber will get will do it for you. So when you have like you know, 99% of likes on your videos average, you don't worry too much about that.
Gotcha. Oh, very good. Thank you for that. Was kind of what
Mm.
I had a feeling that might be it, but appreciate that. Hey, what speaking of other things to watch out for, I do know that in the era of people taking their privacy very very seriously, getting people's permission or getting people to buy into being part of your videos. How do you approach them? And what's your strategy?
Well, actually, most people are very proud when they are in a video. In the Amfest, what they do is they put a sign in the entry. They say that you can be filmed in this video. In the Amfest, there's a camera, and that you could be on YouTube. When I go to Amfest, most of the Amfest organizer will put that in front of in the entry, and everything that is in Canada, I believe, okay, that everything that is public, everything that you can see in a public place, from the street and everything is public, then you have the right to film and to post. But there's something I don't. When I do the editing of an Amfest, there you see a guy scratching his nose and it's on like that, and you don't know if he's picking his nose or. But you don't want to have his friend make fun of him because they saw him in a position that he didn't, didn't thought it was film. I cut that. So I always make sure that there's nothing embarrassing to someone in my video if I film in an Amfest. If I film someone in a QSO on YouTube, I will send an email to ask him permission to post my video. Okay. What I would do is I will film. If you look at my videos, I will film someone talking, but very rarely you will hear the call sign. So I'll try to switch very quickly, so you cannot identify that station, but you can hear it enough to see the signal and the quality of the audio, and then I try to switch.
Mhm.
So and make sure that everything's fine. But everybody's told me that you can film a QSO, but I try to I'm very careful with that.
Do you make any money off YouTube?
Yes. I average in US dollars around 200 per month. That is with about 250 videos and an average of 40,000 views per month. It's not a lot of money for the amount of work. Okay, let's talk about the TS990. The TS990 video is my most viewed video. It's 98,000 views for the past 5 years. It generated like $380 Canadian. So that's about 280 US. And the radio costs $8,000 in Canada. So it will never cover the price of the radio. That's why I won't buy a radio just for a review, even though and a review like this, it's 20 hours minimum for me to do a video like this, and 20 hours for a 5-year video with $300. I make a lot more money working at my day job than doing this. But if you already have the radio, you don't have to spend an extra 20, 40 hours to learn the radio. It's your radio, you love it. It's part of the hobby. So you learn it, then you make a video. Yes, it could take 20 hours, but it's a genuine content. You know the radio. I'm almost replacing the manual. The urban beam, I was building it for myself. I wanted that beam. So the 600 gigabyte of videos, 4K video I made, and editing for a few hours, helping others how to build the antenna and assembly it. Well, I did it anyway in my garage. I had to do it, but I will not. I would not have do just a review on an antenna like this. Spend 20 hours assembling it and another 40 doing the editing, because there was a lot of video and you want to cover you know, but when you're doing it, it's okay. For me, it's, that's why I try to concentrate on what I do for me. So, and you will find that many of the QST review I do, I already have the gear as well. So it's easier.
I have a question, Pascal. So,
Yeah.
do you have any hints for recording video outdoors? Since you know, a lot of things we do would be outdoors. So, are there any some standard kind of practices?
I'm not a professional video maker. Okay, I learn by myself, but I'm a technical guy and I love technical challenges. The thing I learned is you need to have the lighting, the sun facing your subject, or maybe on the side a little, but not the sun in the back. Then you will look like Jesus coming out, you know, of the sky with a big light. So you need the lighting is very important. And in the beginning, every time I was filming, I use automatic shooting in my camera because I was not good enough with ISO and stuff like that. But now it's everything is manual, everything focusing manual. I use everything manual. Why? Because I want to increase the lighting and reduce as possible the ISO of the camera, so I can get a radio like this, like the 9700. And when you look at the screen, the black part, you know, the background part of the radio is black. It's not gray or something. You know, this for me it's important. And this is an ISO of 100, but you need a lot of lighting around to make sure that you still view the radio, that it's not too dark. So this is and lighting is a big thing to learn. But when you film outside, if you make sure that the light is facing your subject or the thing you film, okay, on the right direction, sometimes you cannot, but it's not. This is very good outside. This camera on the iPhone is outside is pretty close to something like this. If you want to invest in a camera that can do 4K, you want to invest, let's say you're a club, you want to buy a good camera, the Sony A6400 has one of the fastest autofocus on the market. So when you film, you don't have to manually focus all the time. I bought it for that. This is my rig, portable rig, film 4K as a comparison. My GVC 4K camera, which has a better lens with a, you know, big sensor that it's over there that you cannot see. Hold on, can I show you? Hold on. Okay, I think I unplugged my camera. Can you see it? This is the camera. This is a professional, almost professional level camera, and this camera has a focus point of 11 point of focus. This one, I think it's 425, and it's very fast. So you don't need to manually focus. If you look at this camera, if I move very fast, especially in 4K, now I'm in HD because I'm using the HDMI port. You can see it's getting, it's not very good because you can see it's getting blur because the focus is not fast enough when you're moving, especially in 4K. And I use manual focus. But when I want to film an equipment, I put it in manual because when I put my finger, it doesn't get out of focus because it's trying to focus on your finger that is moving. So that depends what you do. But when I film outside and I'm busy assembling something, I don't want to play with the focus. I don't have time for that. If you have no cameraman, I use the Sony camera, which has a very fast autofocus, and it's always in focus. So this is not too bad for focus as well. Okay, but I use my cellular. I use this. I got a 4K. This is a 4K cam on top. It's not very good in low lighting like this, so you can see grain, but the outside is very good. So the GoPro is very good as well. I use also some Chinese small GoPro and camera that are very good. If you shop correctly, you look at the specs, make sure that the people get good comments about the review of the product. Then you can find for a fraction of the cost a very good 4K camera to use as well. So there's many options out there, and many videos teaching you how to use and make the best out of this gear to do videos.
Sounds like one of the things you said you always have with your videos a structure, and there's some sort of question you're trying to answer or some information you're trying to get out or some purpose to it. uh, what do you think, just off the top of your head, a question that we could ask our members, because they're going to be filming this just with whatever they have or whatever. Is there something like maybe along the lines of everybody's radio life or a project or an operating thing or an anecdote? Is there something that you think that everybody in a club could do and then be able to share? Do you have any thoughts on what how do we get people started? We've got them interested in this. They're using YouTube. How do we, what's something that we can nudge them along? What's an easy first step for them to do? Maybe a subject or a question.
I think what you could do is actually have people share their own project. And when a project is of general interest, or there's a certain percentage of your members that are interested. Let's say a Raspberry Pi project. That's an example. Want to build a hotspot with a Raspberry Pi? Then you ask the people to film it, and if they can put it on a tripod, or just sometimes you can just handle your camera like this. Make sure that you're at least in HD, okay? HD 1080p, okay? And then you put your camera like this, and try not to move. And if you're not close enough to the device that you film with, use something else to record your audio. And then you can actually, when you get better, okay, then I have here, this is a recorder, audio recorder with XLR plugs, and there's many things you can do with that, okay? Then you have level adjustment, and with the A10 Mini here, I even have a noise gate, an EQ, and what I do is I have a friend that connected with the TeamViewer and did the adjustment while I was talking. So you can do a test, and if you not move too much and you have a good shot, and then you should be okay. And you can cut in the software the part that you don't like. You also, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to do any editing, you will have to do a perfect video, which is very tough to do because the phone ring, your kids come to see you. This happens, okay, all the time. So if you're not too good at making videos, you need to be good at editing videos. And the better you are with a camera, the less time you pass in post-production. So but everything can be done. A steady camera. You can also use a free software called OBS, Open Broadcasting System. OBS can do screen capture in 4K if you have a 4K monitor with a video card doing 4K. And this, if you want to share your screen, don't film your screen, use OBS, okay? It's free, it will create a video. And that's what I use to do my screen captures in. So this is very useful to demonstrate how to program a radio, do a CUD plug, whatever your members want to do a video about. You can start with the question you receive. What is the most question you receive as a club from people interested in becoming AM radio operator or things like that, and give some information and start with doing video on that. So you can share those video with your club potential member or club member, whatever, and then you can provide information, so you don't have to repeat all the time, the same. So this is a good way to start a channel as well.
You're in your shack/studio right now, and it looks like you've got at least a 2-camera setup in order to record. It looks like an overhead, one from the side. Yeah. And did I see an LED panel on the side camera? Is that?
So I'm going to use this camera, and I'm going to show you the setup here. I have a very small shack. For those of you who saw my video before, um, my shack is 8 by 10. Okay, and there's probably more values in there than the rest of the house, but that's another thing. so, so this is an arm. Okay, hold on. I mean, you see how when you get in the light, what it does. Look at the background. That lighting need to be in front and not in the. You know, you need to be in the back of you or facing your subject. This is an arm that can extend up to 8 feet. Okay, 7 or 8 feet, and it's adjustable like this. You still see? It's moving like this, and this can be lower or like this. Usually don't do that when I have a camera in it. Then I have my adjustable LED light. I think the light is like $70. This is about 50. And I have two. I have another one here. So I can use, instead of having, remember when I told you when I want to film a radio, I want the background to be dark and the black to be black. So I'm using the ISO for that. So I need a lot of lighting. And I used to have like 3 tripod here with big studio lights. So I was not even able to move when I was filming. I get cramps because it's too small. So that's why I put those on, and I have 2 lights so I can bring it close to the radio and without having tripod in my way. So this is why that I bought, and I have 4 like that in the garage where I built a new studio to have some more room to film. If you saw one of my latest videos, I did accommodate the garage to be able to do that, having this kind of things. Here I have 2 monitor. One is for the IC7610. The other one is for the MB1. Then I have a 55-inch TV with Geochron on it, so 4K TV. There's the 7610. And the amps. Here I have my editing setup. And this is a mini PC. I get shut down, but this I use that to monitor myself when I'm live streaming on YouTube. So with a 10-second delay, so I can see that I'm still going out, okay, live. And here I have my 4K GVC camera. This is another light that I attach to the small tabletop tripod, so I get a front lighting. But if you do a search on YouTube on a 3-point lighting for video, so you need, if you want to see definition in your subject, you need a background light, and you need a light from one side and a light in the front. Anyway, three-point lighting is important, and you can do that. I use a LED light from Home Depot in the back here.
How much of your video is in French? Do you like do 2 versions of the same one, or do you have ones you prefer to do in French and others you prefer in English? Or
in the beginning, we with my group, then we started with the repeaters. So we did a website in French, but it was so niche that only 5% of the visitors were French. So we decided to do it in English, so it's more universal. And then we became more popular. And when I did the YouTube channel, I said, well, 99% of French people, well, 99, I don't know, maybe 90% speak English or understand English. And you can also activate Google Translate automatically. Believe it or not, in English, it translates my voice perfectly, but not in French. Anyway, so I decided to do it only in English because 95% of my viewers were international and about 45% from the US. So I did only English, and it's one manufacturer that asked me, it's actually MFJ, who asked me, hey, you can do video in French? Yes. So, and then I started to make some video in French and English at some point. And you know, for 3,000 views on an English video, I had 100 views in French. But now I get around 2/3 of the views on the French video than I have on the English one. And I noticed it. I think there's no serious YouTube channel in French about Am Radio, so that's was an opportunity for me to be different. I should have made 2 separate channels, but I don't want to lose subscriber while doing the transition, so I'm not sure what doing with that. That's another advice I need to tell you guys. If you start a YouTube channel, make sure to choose the name right first. Make sure that you have the Facebook page with that name. Make sure you have your web page with that name, that everything match, and that it is something that it represents your channel for a long. Me, it was not intended to become what it became. Okay? It was a hobby, and then I just enjoy it and wanted to do more complex video, and it went, you know, crazy, and it brought me where I am now. But that was not intended when I started. So just that's why I say do videos. You know, every YouTubers are ashamed of their first video. Ask Jason from Am Radio 2.0. Ask Josh in California from Am Radio Crash Course, or Eric from Am Radio Concept, and all the others. Bob K6UDA. They will tell you the same thing. Okay? So we and probably in 5 years we'll be ashamed of our video that we made this year, because you know we improve our skill over time as well. So you need to start somewhere, and people are they want to see people that are like them, and we're all different. But some YouTubers will be more, people will relate more to it than others, and it's all depends. So there's a lot of room. When you're looking for a review, let's say you're looking for a review for a radio, you watch many videos, not only one, right? So that's not really competition, because we all get the views. And with YouTube now, we have the opportunity to have content about Am Radio and promote our hobby to the world. And I did video from to IP network basics, and it's very popular among students in IT world. So it bring young geeks to discover what is Ram Radio. So you know, this is the thing that the Raspberry Pi video, things like that, you know, that brings newcomers, and I meet people in AmFest, and you know, I didn't know what was Am Radio until I saw your video. I was looking for something to monitor the airplane, or then just got from a SVR radio, got on my site, and then decide to study, pass his exam. And you know, I get a lot of joy when I see a guy in his 30s with a kid in his hand in a hand test, and he says he discovered Am Radio because of my YouTube channel. So this is priceless. Worth a lot more than the few bucks that you make in publicity with YouTube. That's my point of view.